Good morning. It's Wednesday, March the 17th, and this is the heart of the matter. I believe one of the sins we most often give ourselves a pass on as Christians is the sin of worry. We assume that because so many people worry that it must be no big deal. We think worry is not as bad a sin as stealing or lying or adultery, surely. And so we minimize and dismiss this sin of worry. However, if we do that, it's only because we don't see that sin of worry from God's perspective. That's what Jesus helps us see in Matthew 6, verse 26. He said, "Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap or store away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they?" Jesus is trying to get us to see worry from God's perspective, from our Heavenly Father's point of view. And he uses birds as an illustration. The birds don't worry about food and about what they'll eat. Now, they don't just wait for food to be dropped into the nest. They work for their food, but they don't worry about their food. They don't lose sleep worrying about tomorrow and whether they'll have enough to eat and whether the bills will be paid or not. And God sees to it that they are fed, that they're taken care of. And then Jesus drops this bombshell. He said, "Are you not much more valuable than they are?" For all of us who worry, that should make us go, ouch. That should hurt us a little bit. That should convict us. Because it means that when we worry, we are saying that God must care more about the birds than he does about us. And that makes no sense, right? But yet that's the message that worry sends. That God cares more about these little birds that flit around than he does the pinnacle of his creation, the only part of his creation that was made in his image, the only part of creation that Jesus died for. Do we really think that God will take care of the birds who don't know him and let us go hungry and go without food and clothing and shelter? Do we really think that? Maybe not, but that's what our worry says. Imagine if your earthly child came to you every day and said, "Dad, Mom, I'm worried that you're not going to feed me tomorrow, that there's not going to be enough food in the house to meet my needs." How offended would you be? How hurt would you be for your child to think that? For your child to think that they're not valuable enough to you to take care of them? Well, that's God's perspective when we worry. Do you really think, my child, that I don't love you enough to take care of you? That I don't love you more than all these birds that I take care of? And so the key to overcoming worry is to see it from God's perspective. And that's the heart of the matter.